Bonjour, mon ami. This our last week of foreign films that we'd recommend to non-cinephiles. We head out to Gay Paris for a bit of Amélie. Welcome to Half-Ass Movie Podcast. Welcome back, you dirty babies. It's time for another Half-Ass Movie Podcast, a show where we put together a half-ass theme as an excuse to watch movies. My name is Adam Portress, and joining me today, he too gets his Perrier delivered like the milkman of yours, sweet Sean Zakovacs from the internet.
You'll never be a vegetable because even artichokes have a heart.
And we're taking all the bets this week on him enjoying the word dictaphone too much, Bruce Leslie.
You know, you don't have to have every single character on the spectrum.
Oh, listen, but it doesn't even hurt. But that's we wouldn't have this show otherwise, I always say. Well, welcome back to HMP, everybody. This week we are concluding our January series, foreign films that you'd recommend to non-cinephiles, and we're closing it out with a bang with Amélie from 2001. This was a first time watch for me. It's been a minute. We kind of talked a little bit about that last week, but it's I had not seen this for a while. I'd known about it forever. I remember, if I'm not mistaken, it was nominated for a whole bunch of Academy Awards or something like that. And so I remember people really being into it and stuff. But there's sometimes there are things that can get you off of a film for half a second. But we'll get into all of those kind of fun things. But so Sean, you'd seen this previous, but Bruce, you were kind of a first timer as well, yeah.
First time I'd seen it, but I mean, I've heard about it since it came out. A good friend of mine, he and his wife had a baby that was born on the same day, not the same year, obviously, but the same day as my birthday. And they named her Amélie after this movie. So I was kind of surprised to think that's who you named your kid after, huh?
Hey, listen, you could name your kid a lot worse things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many, like
Beppo de Beppe or something.
here's my child, Buca de Beppo, please.
Yeah, I never could get the name of that restaurant right. I don't speak.
Make sure he gets to there on time. You know what I was surprised about the most when because I haven't been to that restaurant but like 2 or 3 times, but I did them fairly close to Pope changes and everything, and they have a room where there is it's called the Pope room, I think. And there's in the middle of it, there's like a little bust of the Pope, like under glass or whatever. Like that's like the key marquee thing of the room. Within the amount of quick time change that they had a brand new Pope, they changed the head out and everything. I was like, wow, y'all got the Pope like waiting around this fast for the new transformation. It was wild.
I think it's like the World Series. They go ahead and make T-shirts for both teams. Like they have all the possible popes busts, and then they just pop.
There's like 5 of them lined up. They're just like whenever the white
there's just a Pope bust graveyard outside of Las Vegas somewhere.
Send the rest of the busts to third world countries where they don't have busts.
Papua New Guinea thinks there's a lot of different popes that aren't exactly. Like, this one's weird. And like, okay, sure, there's 5 popes at the same time. But we'll get into all the Amélie stuff. But before we do want to remind everybody that this here live show is on YouTube. That's right. Every Sunday evening around 8 p.m. we come out and do this here live show. We love to see the people in the chat and everything. It's amazing. We got like 31 people watching in this very second and everything. So we want to say thank you to all of those fine people. Hit that like and subscribe button as well as the hype button. That's the big one that a lot of people don't realize. If you're on mobile, swipe that thing to the right, hit the hype button as well as that thumbs up, and that's what gets this thing out to more people. That's called the hype train, everybody. Put them on the hype train. We really appreciate all of you for those fine things. And check out patreon.com/HMP. There you get pre-show, post-show, Dinger in the Zone. And this week's Dinger Zone, we're talking about, what did I say? The top 5 snowy movies. Because we are under a snowpocalypse right now and everything, man. I wasn't able to go to work or anything today because it just iced on in there and everything. So we figure, hey, let's talk about the cold movies out there. So that'll be at the end of this show. We'll be doing the Dinger Zone. And then after this show is over and everything, that bit gets erased and the Dinger Zone is up on our Patreon. So patreon.com/HMP, pre-show, post-show, Dinger Zone. Whatever you think this show is worth, put that in a dollar form, send it out our way, or for the love of God, just hit that like and subscribe button. That's the easiest way to do it. And it don't cost you a single solitary dime. That's the easy way to do it. Patreon.com/HMP. Join up at any level. We love you guys. Thank you so much. What are we talking about? Almost like 12 years worth of stuff here. We've been rock and rolling for a minute, hadn't we?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you guys for that. Let's get into it, fellas. Here, let me get my. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me put this up. I want to put this up because I forget to. I don't do this enough. Here's all the dirty babies. Here's all the people that support this show over at patreon.com/HMP. I wanted to kind of throw that up there because we like those folks. They're not bad. They're not bad. Those people.
And you know what? A lot of those folks have been with us for years too. So thank you for the long timers.
Years. Unbelievable how much you guys have followed us around. We really, really appreciate that. Love you guys.
Even
so
through
much.
a format
Seriously,
change.
thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Through a format change. That's a big one. When you can continue to keep your audience throughout changing your stuff from just superhero movies to movies, that shows you're doing all right. And we appreciate all of you guys for keeping it right for all of these.
Or maybe it shows they were just as sick of them as we were.
They don't know how to unsubscribe from things. I would say that, but they do. They talk with us and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They send us emails and stuff. So I know it's not like, they exist. They exist. All right, let's get into it, fellas. Here is the IMDb plotline for Amélie from 2001. As we know, IMDb always 100% correct in everything they say and or do. Despite being caught in her imaginative world, young waitress Amélie decides to help people find happiness. Her quest to spread joy leads to her own journey, during which she finds true love. This is written by, here comes a whole bunch of French names I'm bound to kill. Written by Guillaume Laurent, who did The City of Lost Children, A Very Long Engagement, Locked Out, and Mig-Mags with director of this movie and other movies, Jean-Pierre Jeunet, who also directed Delicatessen, Alien Resurrection, everyone's favorite Alien movie, and a ton of commercials, so you know that guy's actually loaded. This is starring Audrey Tautou, Matthew Kazovitz, Dominic Pignon, Isabel Nancy, and the man so nice they named him once, Rufus. This movie had a budget of $10 million and a worldwide box office of $175 million. So needless to say, they did some business on this one.
Oh yeah,
just a little.
It's one of the most successful foreign films of all time.
So Sean, 2001, I am let's see, 2001, I'm working in news at this point. So I would say that's where like a majority of my stuff is going. When I joined news for the first time, 9/11 happened. So as you might imagine, that kind of took a whole bunch of my brain power right there. Then after all of that, going into film school around 2003, Amélie was often talked about. I mean, because look at this. This is a very interesting poster of this striking woman here and everything. It was French. And whenever you saw any of the trailers and stuff like that, it looked very imaginative, very colorful, very, very 90s, even though this was 2001. It still feels like there's a bit of that kind of 90s bit in there and everything. And it was always curious as to what this movie might actually be about. But it's a French movie and, you're 1920s. Sometimes it depends on if you're in the kind of mood or not. But my problem was when it came down to it, in around 2003, we were at film school and we're all talking about stuff, and there was one guy who everybody had seen a whole bunch of things. We're all talking about I like this guy, this is good stuff. And one dude had not seen Pulp Fiction, and we were just like, how in the world are you 21 years old in the year 2003 and you don't know, you've never seen Pulp Fiction? What's wrong with you? He goes, I'm a bigger fan of Amélie. And we're like, listen, we don't discount that movie's probably very, very good. But the fact that you would go at your age as a young male would go Amélie over Pulp Fiction.
Interested in film study. That's the big one. And you're interested in film study and you haven't seen that movie. What is wrong with you, dude?
It's amazing.
I have almost the same story, Adam, where but unlike you, I didn't wait 20 years to see it. I actually watched it pretty close to that time. I was out of school at that point, but all of the film school kids would start working in the business, and their PAs and stuff. And there are certain people who are like, oh, this is actual work. I don't like this. That happens all the time, and those kids wash out quickly, and they're very wealthy parents then are like, well, why don't you just join my family business, whatever that family business is? And those were the kids that were really into Amélie, hardcore into Amélie. And so I immediately have hackles up about this film. And I ended up watching it anyway, just because there were a few people who, when they spoke about it, I was like, oh, that sounds actually interesting. And it's not, you know, these stupid rich kids who are like, just like, well, you know, I need to sound really smart, so I'm going to talk about Amelie. And here is the thing that I've been hiding from the both of you gentlemen. This is one of my favorite movies. It's not even close. I love this movie. I think it came out during a time where it was like the perfect salve for me at the time, because you have to keep in mind this movie comes out in 2001. We don't see this in America until like 2003, probably, like you were saying, Portress. But like you are smack in the middle of, like, it's the very end of the Pulp Fiction days. It's like the Matrix is still like in the forefront of everyone's mind. And so things are very gritty and very gun heavy and very angry. Like, you know, soundtracks are angry, like characters are angry. There's all of that stuff happening. And the guy who makes Alien Resurrection, which is, the movie's fine. Like, look, like it's not the first two Aliens. Nothing can be. It's fine. But then he makes this movie, and I fell in love with the movie so hard that after I saw that, then I needed to see the other things he had done, because, you know, it's like, well, if the only David Fincher movie you've ever seen is Alien 3, then you're not good. Like, is it Fincher? Yeah, it's Fincher, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to judge him harshly. But like, so like I go back and I see his other movies, and they're great. Like Juno has basically 3 really, really terrific movies. And it's Delicatessen, it's City of Lost Children, and it's Amelie. And Amelie is the best one of the 3, but they're all really great. And so
best, just I'm gonna drop this
Fortress Bucks.
because MVD's got a little line for us here. Amelie is good, but I love seeing kids dream of the reindeer crap. So the City of Lost Children is actually his favorite there. So
totally, it totally can be. And also, City of Lost Children is a weirder movie, also, and that's right. Like, that's MVD's like Fastlane. Like, oh man, this movie is almost inaccessible to like 50% of people. I love this movie. And so you know, like I just love a good yarn. And the thing that the thing that I've noticed about Amelie over time is that as much as I love Wes Anderson, and I love Wes Anderson, as even to this day I do, I think that it's like he's chasing this movie. It feels like he's always chasing Amelie, and he just can't get there because he just doesn't have the ideas. Is what it feels like to me.
I had that exact same thought, and I was thinking about bringing it up, but I know you guys like Wes Anderson better than I do, so I was a little nervous. But if you look, you know, there's Royal Tenenbaums, Rushmore, and they have a certain look. But then after Royal Tenenbaums, he starts to oversaturate his colors. He starts to use lighting like this. He gets even more quirky in a way that's less obvious, I guess. And I was curious if that was just me reading too much into it, but I'm glad to know that somebody else thinks that Wes Anderson was very influenced by this. But then I also wonder if this director was a little influenced by Wes Anderson by the quirkiness of everything.
Well, what I would say to you is that Wes Anderson's making movies before Amelie comes out. But I mean, you know, City of Lost Children and Delicatessen. I think Delicatessen might actually be later than this. I don't know.
I think it's earlier.
Is it earlier?
I think it's earlier.
Like he's got 2 movies out already by the time this movie comes out. But with that being said, I think he saw this movie and was like, "Oh my God, this is where I need to put my focus on." It really does feel that way to me.
I think Wes Anderson's career is a lot like Tony Scott. And I know that sounds like a wild and crazy statement to make, but hear me out. I think both guys were always kind of like always going on this arc, and we're going on this journey. I'm not discounting, and you could certainly be right, but it seems like they were always kind of trying to get to this place, but it is through their success then that they're able to, you know, broaden out and kind of do whatever they want. And I think Wes Anderson is definitely a good representation of that. You don't get to make Asteroid City without you being the guy who's in charge of all that
That's
shit.
what I was going to say is if you want a real double feature to show you an arc and a creator, watch Bottle Rocket and Asteroid City in the same city.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, what? Who is the, what?
It's a long journey.
Oh wait, hold on. Damn it! Come on.
Fortress Bucks.
Old Robert comes in with one. This with a good old tenor here and says, "I have nothing of substance to say. I'll just say, go Pats."
They won today. Congratulations. Congratulations, they won.
Yeah. And listen, man, as long as Brady's not behind the Pats, I'm okay with them. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I don't hate the man, but like, you know, it's sports. You just kind of don't like a guy, and that's how it is. But you know,
Hey,
once it's
sometimes-
gone, I'm okay with you, New Englanders. You're fine.
Thank you, buddy. Although
Yeah.
I never was a New England fan, but yeah,
You know it.
I do. I get it.
Who was your football team growing up?
I don't want to talk about that right now.
Okay.
It's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing.
Jets. Jets.
It's not. It's way worse than that. It's way.
Oh
worse.
no.
Oh, go.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about
Man.
that. Maybe if we hit some Patreon number or whatever, maybe then I'll say. But I'm never gonna say it.
I
I'm
will
never
say
gonna
this
it.
though. This is 1,000% the most anyone has ever talked sports in a review of Amélie. 1,000%. There's no one
For
else out
sure.
there who's talking about like this. No, it's not. That's why you pay the big bucks here, kids. Hit that like.
Well, I'll get back on track and just ask if either of you are fans of French cinema in general, because I tend not to be, and I've tried really hard. I decided I really wanted to like movies, and honestly, I wanted to make movies someday when I saw Do the Right Thing. So Spike Lee was like who lit that fire under me, but I wanted to, see French cinema had a great reputation, and I went to the theater at a foreign film festival and watched Les Longs. And I decided maybe it's not for me. And I would dip my toe in it from time to time. And I never saw something that just had me all the way through. I really like that film we watched with the big carousel, that from like the 60s that we watched maybe last year. I can't
don't
remember
know it.
I can't remember the name of it, but it had all the cars going around and people going up and down like a carousel at the end. It was supposed to be sort of a comedy. I remember you saying you don't wear brown to town when we were talking about it, Adam. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, I can't remember the name of the
I-
movie. I like that
I
one
know what you're talking
okay,
about.
but mostly for visual purposes. But when it comes to French cinema, you've got it all started with two really distinct ways of going. There were the Lumieres and what they were doing, and then there was Méliès. Am I saying that right? Méliès?
Yeah, we're pretty good. I'll
Georges
count.
Méliès. But it feels like the Lumiere track took over and the Méliès just kind of withered on the vine. But I was more of a Méliès type of movie fan. So
You want
I-
to see them sci-fi epics? I get it.
I mean, I like to doing interesting things with the camera, like he did. He was ahead of his time.
I mean, what all of that goes away though once the French New Wave happens, and I think as much as Jeunet says about this film that it's inspired by, like Sergio Leone movies, and he had another reference like, and Orson Welles. You can totally tell that this movie is so influenced by French New Wave, whether it's the fact that like the movie starts with a narration and with a montage, which that is such a French New Wave thing where like, no, this is the way all movies start. Like, because most French New Wave movies start that way. And then on top of that, the fact that Amélie knows that she's in a movie is another like, oh, that's another French New Wave thing. Like I can't remember what the name of that movie is with the guy and the girl. I can't remember the name of that movie, but they both know they're in a movie. Like it's just so very French New Wavy.
Like for a lot of European movements or genre, I usually have like a representative film in my head. Like for Giallo, I can name you representative films. Same thing with the German existentialism. You've got those famous movies that you can always reference. I don't have like a reference movie for French New Wave.
Breathless should be probably
Which
of the
one?
top ones for Jean Godard's Breathless.
I might have to check that one out, see if I like it or not.
You'll see a lot of like that. That'll be like when you first watch that, you're going to be like, "Oh my god, they was jump cutting in the '60s like this! Wow, that's crazy." hold on real fast. Playtime is the movie that you're looking for, according to MVD there. And Playtime is actually really great. I mean, it's like watching a painting, that movie, and like in a very good way.
Oh, yeah. I was like, Playtime is New Wave, but no, he's because I couldn't remember the name of it. I get it now. Thank you, MVD. He always saves me when I don't know the answer.
Jacques Tati, that's correct. Yes, sir. Okay, so yeah, like you said, Sean, starting off with the narrative and stuff, and that's like the movie does a really good job with kind of planting you with its style and everything right off the bat, so you are aware of kind of what's coming up here and everything. They very much kind of set the table for you, going like, "Hey, here's what this movie is going to be about," and it does so in this great kind of it's such a lighthearted way to go about it too. That's what's so fun about it. Like it's joy filling in this, like, and there are certain scenes, and we'll get into orders or whatever, but like one of the parts that I kind of loved the most was her doing this nice thing of helping this blind man cross the street and everything. And as she's going across, just describing everything that's going on in this great fever pitch of things that are going on. And this guy obviously can't see anything, but he can hear things, he can smell things, he can sense the things that are going on. And it's just this cavalcade of amazing emotions that she's funneling into this dude who doesn't, as you might imagine, probably take the time and effort to, sit and enjoy all of those things that are going on. But it's just this assault of the world that's coming at him, but it's coming at him in a very gleeful kind of way and everything that's, that's uplifting. It's not like shocking and like scaring him or anything, but it's just like, oh my God, I've never, all of these things coming at me at once. And you can just kind of see the joy of him finally, kind of living that moment there in the middle of everything. It's really lovely.
Yeah, it's almost like she leaves him in ecstasy when she goes to. And
he's looking at it, he's going, "Oh my God, I've never had such an experience before," because he like probably never looked at it that way, because he's going slow and with the bumpers up here and everything, but she's got him, so she's rolling him along and just going, "Here's a thing, here's a thing, here's a thing. Isn't life grand? Isn't it amazing?"
Yeah, it's pretty great that one of the things about this movie, right, is the thing that I think sets it apart from almost every other movie. And I didn't understand this until like this last viewing I had this week, is that when you watch the movie, you can clearly tell that there's personal stuff in the movie, like to specifically. And the way that you can tell is that it's too specific. There's there's ideas in there. Like no one is ever going to write an idea of, oh, this guy, he collects pictures from a photo booth, and like the people who hate their photos, and he takes them and he puts them in a photo album. Like that's not an idea that someone's just sitting around thinking of, right? And I kind of figured that out watching it this time. So when I listened to the special features or the director's commentary on this movie this time around, I literally wanted to see all the personal stuff that he put in this thing. And there's a lot more than this, but these are the 5 that I pulled out, right? So one is the photo album. The photo album is a personal story. In the 80s, he had a friend who would collect those photos and put it into a photo book. And it was an amazing book. Like Jeannot was just completely fascinated by that, and it looked amazing. According to Jeannot, the real book looks way better than the book that they use in the movie because he had so many more photos. But he also couldn't, like, he would never be able to get clearance for all of those people's faces, right? Because there's no way to tell who those people are. Even it's just like some photo. So they had to mock one up, and they had the props mock one up. And so that's one of those moments where you're like, oh, that's a really like that's too specific, right? And so here are the other ones. One is the dancing wine glasses at the beginning of the movie in the montage. 2 wine glasses are dancing. He noticed that phenomenon when he was vacationing in Greece, and it kept happening. And while he's talking on the director's commentary for it, he's like, it is impossible to get something that happens like that in real life to happen in your movie when you're trying to make it happen. And the props guys wanted to kill me because it never looked right. and I was like, man, I hear you, bro. I hear you. 2 is the suicidal fish is something that actually happened to him, where he had a fish that would constantly jump out of the bowl, and it made his mom crazy. So they ended up putting like weight on top of the bowl so the goldfish wouldn't jump out, and they eventually ended up putting it out into like the real world, like in a river somewhere.
I thought you were going to be like, it got a job. I'm like, what do you mean? Get out there and support your family, you bastard. There's a lot of them, you know.
Sorry, go ahead, Bruce.
That's not an uncommon behavior from goldfish. I mean, as a kid, we had that happen a few times.
Oh, really? The suicidal goldfish?
I didn't jump out of their bowl. They're not suicidal. They just aren't very bright. They think they're, you know, in whatever their normal environment would be where they can jump. You know, a lot of fish jump.
They scream freedom, and then the second they get out, go, I've made a grievous mistake.
You can avoid that by having them in like an aquarium where the opening is the same size as the water, but the fish bowl has like the smaller opening, so they imagine that there's more.
Don't give them a chance, is what you're saying. That's a good point.
See.
I'm a fish biologist.
Third thing, Amelie's likes and dislikes are the same as Jeannot's. And likes and
circle back to that. Continue.
And likes and dislikes is a game that he plays with people at like dinner parties and stuff when the people don't have anything to talk about. Is that he'll do likes and dislikes, which I find fascinating because that's something that I do as sort of a social pressure reliever when I'm at like a function that I don't know the people at and I don't have a lot to talk about, and I do that psychological question to them: would you rather be invisible? Would you rather be have the superpower of flight or invisibility? And you know, because people are like, you know, and they'll start talking to you about that, and so that's what he does in real life. You want to circle back, Bruce?
Oh yeah, when you're talking about that was about him, and you know, if you look, if you go to Google and type in "is Amélie Poulain," it's going to automatically feel autistic, and you're going to find hundreds and hundreds of pages where people with autism find representation in this movie.
Right.
But the director has said, you know, the 2001. People thought that autism was Rain Man. I mean, that's what it was. So that's why this movie really communicated with people who had what at the time we called Asperger's syndrome. Right. Turns out Dr. Asperger was a Nazi, so they threw that term away. And now they
is that why they got rid of that term?
Yes, yes.
Oh,
and it also sounds a little bit like Asperger, like I don't know.
Come on,
Asperger, and
I never noticed that before.
You mean that whole giant South Park arc of Asperger?
It's spelled with the P though, Asperger. But anyway, now it's called level 1 autism, which makes it sound like you're not good enough to be all the way autistic.
Man, you need to get up to level 3 autism, and you're gonna get in this conversation, boy.
Which means there's someone somewhere who's like, man, I miss having Asperger's.
No, there are people that still refer to themselves as Aspies. Because when you say I'm autistic, people say, well, you're not like Rain Man. You don't have autism. No, you don't. Everybody's autistic now. You know, people say all those things. But when you said Asperger's, it was like its own thing. Now it's not anymore.
A handful of toothpicks in his pocket at all times just to feel like, all right, which one of you broke them out there?
But the way that the director says in no way did he intend to have this character be on the spectrum. Right. And then you look, and this whole movie is populated with people who have traits. I won't say that they're autistic, but they have traits consistent with autism. And then I start to wonder, is this director, does he have Asperger's and he just thinks this is what quirky people are like, rather than people with
this is just what French people are like.
You know, I've been to France. It's not what they're like.
And hold on, we'll get to the French people thing that you just mentioned in a second, Portress, because I have I noticed something watching this time, but I want to go backwards for a second, which is that, you know, French cinema is very famous for having like, oh no, she's mentally challenged. Like, oh, this hilarious character in our movie is somebody who has a severe cognitive learning disability. Isn't that hilarious? Like, they do that all the time. Or like, you know, a couple of years ago, there was a guy who was a quadriplegic and his African-American like nurse, and they get into all kind of hijinks. You know that movie? Like a couple of years ago with Bryan Cranston as playing the quadriplegic.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm trying to remember the name of it.
I can't remember it either. But
Okay.
the French version of that movie, the quadriplegic is calling that guy every name, ethnic name in the book, like through half of the damn movie. And that's just how the French are, man. Like, that's just how the French are. Like, listen, this is a thing that happens in real life. We're going to put it in our movie. You know, to get back to French New Wave for a second, I want to talk to you about this, Bruce. I'm kind of surprised that you don't like it more because you love the can-do thing. And French New Wave happened because they were all poor kids who just wanted to make movies. And that's literally how that whole thing started, because they couldn't get into it wasn't the Hollywood system, it was the French system, but they couldn't get into that system. And so they all started making their own movies, and they were making cool enough movies where people were like, this is interesting enough that I want to see more from these people.
Well, I'm not saying I don't like it. I just don't think I've had much exposure to it,
Oh,
because
I
I
see.
can't think of a representative film that I've seen that I would say
I
this is
see.
French New Wave. And it does have sort of a reputation of, the people in berets with their
Sure.
weird
There is a
Vincent and
lot of
Hedges
that, yes.
cigarettes sitting around a coffee
Yes.
shop talking. So it never seemed like it would appeal to me. You know, like I said, I found my way into movies halfway between horror and Do the Right Thing. So none of that
Right.
really is French New Wave.
Right.
But
What was Barney Gumbel's movie? That was French cinema to me.
But it definitely seemed like it. But I know what you're talking about now.
Don't cry for me. I'm already dead.
As much as I like can-do movies, I hate Dogma 98 movies, and
Sure.
that's made
95, but yeah.
can-do.
Or
I'm
is it
sorry, whatever. Whatever year you want, I hate it. And
You're not wrong.
but I love like Ed Wood. You know, it's a totally different kind of can-do attitude.
So there's only one more. There's only one more that I have. There's a lot more, but these are the only ones I took notes on. The last one is the kid getting put into the wastebasket, and then the wastebasket put onto the desk. That didn't happen to Jeannot, but it was one of those like elementary school stories that circled around the school of, oh, you know, a couple years ago they put a kid in a wastebasket and they put that basket on a desk and he couldn't get out. It was just one of those stories.
I put a kid in a couple trash cans. I had a wrestling move that we called the Porcher's trash can. It was pretty cool. That's what middle school does. You're just like, what would my wrestling move be? Mine was the Porcher's trash can.
And the whole thing with the traveling gnome had been done in a British thing that I had seen before, you know, like in 95 or something. So when I saw that here, it kind of shook me for a minute, because I thought, have I seen this before? But then, you know, kind of worked it out. But yeah, that was like a British thing before it was in this movie, the traveling gnome.
But I mean, it comes from real life, is that there were the people in France who hated garden gnomes, and like hated having to see garden gnomes in people's gardens. And so they would take the garden gnomes and they called themselves the Gnome Liberation Front or something like that.
Yeah.
And they would literally take the gnomes with them to places like exotic locales and take photos and send them to the people who had the gnomes in the first place in their garden. It was a real thing in actual life that happened, and people ended up getting arrested and sentenced for it, by the way.
My research was that it started in the UK and then spread through Europe. But
maybe.
I think originally they would take the gnomes and then just use backdrops. You know, they weren't actually sending the gnomes places
funny.
like they did in this movie, but they would use backdrops and then send the pictures, and it was a big joke, like Polaroids or whatever.
Yeah.
But I, you know, with these things, you never know, did the tail wag the dog? Because some people said, well, it happened first in this BBC show, then people started doing it in real life, then it spread to Europe based on what people were doing in real life, not based on the show. But it's one of those, but where did the show get the idea? Maybe somebody was already doing it. So it's a chicken or the egg on that one.
Sure.
Jared the gnome is in Budapest. Look at this. What's he doing this week?
This movie is directly responsible for those Travelocity commercials.
Oh, without a doubt. There's no doubt about it. This movie to the Travelocity commercials, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, even the color and everything.
Yeah. I mean, there's if they say otherwise, the advertising wizards who made that, then they are lying, outright lying. So you want to hear something weird? You know who they originally wanted to cast for Amelie is Emily Watson.
I read that.
And the only reason why she didn't do it was because she couldn't break the barrier of French. Like she didn't know French enough in order for this movie to work. So they had to rewrite the screenplay for this for Amelie to be a French person because her dad was supposed to be British, which makes sense when you watch the movie and you're like, wow, he's like a thumb here because he does behave so very different from everyone else in this movie.
It might also explain the garden gnome thing. He brought it with him from England.
Sure. So like what, because of that, right? Because of the rewrite. So what I learned was, and you can tell with this movie, just how much prep was involved with this movie. And I've looked it up and like, I didn't realize this, that like very famously, there was like 18 different drafts of this movie.
Oh, wow. And
it was completely storyboarded out to the point where like Spielberg would have been like, wow, that's a lot of storyboarding, like that kind of thing. And I know that we were talking earlier about how that Amelie, that people who with autism say that Amelie clearly has autism. I don't think that's it. I honestly, I think that I think they literally. I mean, if you want to take that out of the movie, that's great because sometimes what the artist's intent is and what the movie is are two different things. But what at the time, what it felt like to me was like, oh, this is a kid who was raised like veal, and then when she's out into the world, she has social anxiety, and that's where all of that comes from. That's why she's so introverted.
Well, one thing I'll say to add to that is the number one cause of autistic children are autistic parents. Her mother doesn't like to be touched. Her father has this special interest with the gnome. He's obsessed with her health. Both of her parents are autistic coded too. And then the boy she falls for is autistic coded. And then there are some other folks that pop up with some special interests that, you know, you can see what you want to in it. But this movie has very few folks who don't kind of express at least a few of those traits.
That was one of the most sad parts of the entire film there, right at the beginning, when in the voiceover and everything, where she's talking about how as a young girl, she got so little physical attention from her father that when, her father goes to check up on her health all the time, her heart is beating fast because this is the most interaction that she's ever gotten with him. And she gets excited because it's like, oh my God, I'm finally being paid attention to by my father. Like that is just destroying, dude.
It is. And it doesn't help either that they crank the cuteness up to 11 with that little girl. Like she's like she was grown in a lab. This is the cutest girl who's ever existed, girl. Like just amazing.
And she develops a rich inner world. And just go ahead and Google that phrase and see what pops up. But that's why I wonder if the person who made this movie may, be an aspie. He may not know that this is a typical behavior. You know what I mean?
I don't think he is, just because I've seen him in a lot of interviews, specifically this week, and he sure doesn't seem it.
Okay.
I think it falls under the old why is he like this? Honey, he's French. You just kind of go like, oh yeah, that adds up.
So I'm going to be mad at myself if I don't bring this up, which is that the more I got into the art department of filmmaking, the more I like this movie. And to the point now where every single scene, it seems like there is not a single thing that's in the frame that isn't intentional. Like even when you go down to when they're in the coffee shop and the cigarette girl who's at the end of the counter, like all of those cigarettes that are in there, it just seems so intentional. Like everything is perfectly placed. When you look at, like, here's the perfect example. And it's how I know that the director and the production designer had many meetings together, right? Is that when Amelie gets her revenge on the produce guy, right? She goes into the guy's apartment. The first two things that the filmmakers are showing you is that everything is very tight. Like everything, everything is in place. The rest of the movie, things are kind of scattershot and aren't we artistic. The only room that you see that's like everything is right angles is the producer's apartment. Then she sits on the bed and she sees that like, oh, this still has a lot of give in it, and also that it's not a big bed. So this guy is lonely, and the only way that this guy's life, like his inner life, is one of routine and one of of cleanliness. Like this is what this guy's life is, right? And so he loves routine, he loves right angles, he loves things to be put in its place. So when she goes in there, and so it's not just because she is doing little things to that apartment, but she's doing little things that are a very, very big deal for this guy. And so
one of the best parts.
It is. It's amazing. And so she's making this guy's life a living hell because she's like screwed with all of that. And it's almost all done through props and all done through set dressing. And that's production design, man. And so that's how I know there were so many meetings like, listen, the bed has to have this amount of like bounce to it, showing that no one's been in that bed having sex, because otherwise the bed would be flatter, right? Oh, geez, like there's no give to this bed. Like just shit like that, where you're like, the intentionality of this movie is why I think that like through the years it just goes higher and higher and higher for me, because every single moment of this movie is intentional, and that's what I love about it so much. Right down to the fact of like Amelie's hair. You know, Audrey Tautou, like that's not what she looks like in real life. Like you know, I mean, look, we've all seen her in that Tom Hanks movie. You know, like
she
looks
hair,
very different
right?
in
long
that
curly,
movie.
like not curly, but wavy long hair.
Yes, she looks very different. And so she got her hair cut before the movie for screen tests so that they could because the director was like, you need to have your hair like this. And like, I can't tell you how many times a director will not care like at all about that kind of thing. But the intentionality of even her hair is specific to this movie, and it's just why I just love this movie so very much.
And when she pins her hair back just with her natural build and frame, she looks so much like Audrey Hepburn in some of those scenes.
Yes.
And
I think
cinema godhood there, you know, Audrey Hepburn, as far as visuals are concerned, you'll never beat that for a leading lady. But French cinema has always been outstanding with visuals and details. I think that's what has made it so popular internationally, is it overcomes the language barrier by talking to your eyes and not your ears. And that's one of the good parts about it. But French cinema that I've taken in has never had enough story for me, and it's never had enough escapism for me in some weird way. So I think that's part of why I prefer Italian cinema, some German cinema, not all of it. And, you know, I'm not real big on that Triumph of the Will stuff. And then, you know, Swedish, Scandinavian cinema can do some cool things. I really have enjoyed that. And I'm not talking about The Seventh Seal or anything like that. I'm talking about more modern stuff.
Yeah. You're talking about Let the Right One In, shit like that.
Yeah, stuff like that. And like the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the Swedish versions I like much better. At least
which is way better.
Swedish. Yeah. But the French films are like, I could watch them with the sound turned down and really enjoy them. But 2 hours of that gets to be a bit much. And I watched this kind of late at night when I was yawning a little bit, and that probably hurt my enjoyment. But it's just not my kind of movie. But I really did love some moments in it. I think it had the best death scene I've ever seen on film.
Oh wow!
When the lady jumps out of Notre Dame and lands on her mom.
Oh,
that is gold, solid gold. I've never laughed so hard at a double homicide in my life.
Real event, by the way. That was a real thing that happened. It was in the news, and he's like, "We got to take that."
Oh man, I didn't know that was real. Now I feel bad laughing about it.
So you talking about how Audrey Tautou looks like Audrey Hepburn, right?
Yeah.
it reminds me of a point I need to make, which is that the guy who plays Nino in this movie, you know, the love interest in this movie,
Yeah.
I never noticed it until now. Couple of different moves, you know, a couple of sliding doors moments. Portress and this guy look a lot alike. They do.
Which is also funny because Audrey Tattoo in this movie looks a lot like my last girlfriend. Who also spoke like French and Italian and like a whole bunch of other languages and stuff. So this movie was another one of those like, why are we hitting Adam this month?
But Audrey Tattoo in this movie is like, close your eyes, think of a French girl. I mean, she really nails it. Yeah. But having spent some time in Paris where this movie takes place, I can tell you that there's a little bit more diverse population than you see here. With this whole cast, you get 3/4 of a Moroccan guy and everybody else is lily white. But it's a very, very diverse city.
It's also
and that's one of the things during the director's commentary as they're watching the film. You know, it literally says the line, I had to write it down. Never shoot in Paris. This movie is a lie. There's dog shit everywhere and graffiti. There's always traffic jams and it rains every effing day.
Yeah. This makes Paris look more beautiful than it is.
I understand.
Say what? What you?
I don't know who you're saying. Say what to?
Well, the Portress.
Go ahead, Adam.
Oh, it's just me being stupid. Let's go.
Oh, it's already gone.
We already got Bruce. It's called the Mon.
It's Mon Oncle. It means my uncle. Yeah.
Nice.
You know, I spent some time in francophonic countries, so I tried watching this without the subtitles for a very, very short period of time and realized that, you know,
francophonic could also be your rap name, Bruce. Think about it.
Yeah, it's been 31 years since I was in a francophonic country, so I haven't spoken much French since then, but I did understand enough to know when the subtitles were not quite on track, and I made a few notations there.
Oh, let me tell you, while watching this movie, I thank God I'm divorced, because my ex-wife knew French and shit, and she'd have been ripping like I would have had to hear it through this whole damn thing. So, but for the grace of God, go I.
Man. There's so many moments in my life where it's like, thank God my ex isn't here. So
right.
Man, I can't remember. Oh, that's one of the things I wanted to say. So, these are all director's commentary notes at this point. So, I didn't realize how close to this movie coming out to Unbreakable. And there's two Mr. Glasses.
Mr. Glass. Yep.
And Mr. Glass in Unbreakable comes out first.
Yeah.
And Janot mentions that in the commentary, and he goes, at first, when we saw that there was a character named Mr. Glass in Unbreakable, my first thing was like, oh no, it's the same name, but you know, just totally different ideas. Like, yeah, their bones are made of glass, but like two totally different characters. And then he literally said, and also I just love M. Night Shyamalan, so I didn't care.
That's great, man. I like it when folks are just like out there with it, not trying to yank your chain.
Yeah.
Well, and like while it was part of it and everything, they didn't, obviously it wasn't leaned on so much as a crutch as Unbreakable was, because that was such a defining portion of, you know, what made that story actually tick and everything. This is an element within said story as opposed to a driving element, I suppose.
Have you guys heard of a documentary called Dick's Vermeer?
I know Tim's Vermeer.
That might be it. Tim, Dick, Harry, I don't know.
Yeah, the one that Teller directed.
Yeah. That's what I kept thinking about with this guy trying to perfectly recreate the Renoir, is like the guy trying to perfectly recreate the Vermeer. But you know, it's like a true story. I just don't know when this Tim guy was active. I don't know if there's any way at all that story could have influenced this one, but it really felt parallel.
It's a good question. He did that for so many years, trying to kind of perfect that and everything. So,
but you know the reason why the reason why they used Renoir in the movie is because they wanted to do it with a painting, right? Of like having Mr. Glass talk to Amélie through the painting. Like, I can't figure out this girl, even though they both know what they're doing at the time, you know.
Yeah.
And the only reason why they used Renoir was because it was free. Like they could just use the painting, and that they and Renoir specifically because, you know, he's a French painter.
French,
so, yeah.
Because I would think the more obvious choice would be Seurat, but yeah, Seurat's a little more modern and may not be as public domain-y.
It's definitely not public domain. I can tell you. I know from fact. It is not public domain.
Man, at least Steamboat Willie is.
So yeah, finally, right?
Yeah.
Now we can make our Mickey Mouse horror movie.
Don't stream it on YouTube. They'll rip you a new one. I don't care if it's public domain. You run away from it. Don't strike the boy.
Did learn that one the hard way.
Until April for sure.
You don't want Elvira on your case.
Damn Elvira. Cassandra Peterson, damn you.
So
she's a lovely lady.
What do you guys think of the camera in this movie?
I hate to be that guy, but the camera's a character.
No, it's the fact that there might be one or two, but there isn't a single time in this movie, maybe one or two, that the camera isn't moving. The camera moves in every single shot in this movie.
I think that's kind of what I was thinking, is it's not static, so you feel like the camera's part of the story, and that's what I meant when I said that.
I see.
That's kind of a description when you have a lot of camera movement. I've heard a lot of Italian films described that way, so I thought I'd throw it out there on this French.
Oh, I see. Very athletic camera. I've heard before.
That is precisely what I was just going to say, because this is the era of that and stuff as well. Because we're getting a lot of good lighter film cameras, you know, in the late 90s and early 2000s and stuff. So you can afford to kind of jump around and do something that looks really good, but you're still very mobile and stuff, kind of doing and whatnot. And so like it's a prime era for that. So, and like this is just pre-digital, but it's light enough and stuff now that they can start moving and shaking faster than they ever could before.
Sometimes I forget that a movie that looks like this was shot probably 35 millimeter, not 70.
Yeah, it's 35.
Yeah, but man, that's kind of great when you think of how much harder everything was to make it look this good then than it is now. Or you pop it into the computer and do your magic.
Well,
by
that's
the way,
one of the
I
things.
wish this was a 4K, because like it looks okay with what we got. There should be a really, because this is a beautiful looking movie that deserves a good quality 4K, and I think this movie would really benefit from that. And it kind of pissed me off because it was like the day before, because like on Friday, this movie on iTunes was $3.99 to rent, $4.99 to buy, and then Saturday it's $15 to buy. I'm like, you sons of
Whoa.
one day and it goes up $10. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna go rent it. And it's a good thing that I did rent it, because I don't like the way that the subtitles kind of do and everything. I'd rather have a kind of a more baked in one that you can get like on a proper DVD or something like that. But this movie could use a 4K desperately, because boy, it's a good looking movie and it just looks okay.
I would buy it. I would actually buy that 4K.
I thought it looked really good on the version that we saw. I mean,
it is. It's good. It is good,
but it could be better.
Yeah, I mean, it's not Portrait level, but it is really good. The other thing that I wanted to mention here is the scene where she's on the bridge and she's skipping rocks, and they follow her, no camera cuts, follow her walking to the bridge, start throwing rocks, skipping rocks, and then the camera picks up, floats over her, and goes to water level, looking at her. In 2003, Sean don't know how they do that. Sean don't have any idea how they do that. I was floored by that. And I literally had to ask my buddy, who was a filmmaker, far more advanced than me at the time. And I said, hey, how did they get that scene in Amélie where she's walking across the bridge? And boy, oh boy, you couldn't wait to tell me. He was like, well, see, there's this piece of equipment called a techno crane, because no human could pull that off where you're moving it with that velocity and keeping everything in focus. And so you have a techno crane that does all that for you. And it was the first time I had ever heard it. So when I finally was working on a feature where they had a techno crane, I was able to pull off one of the things that I hate when somebody else does it, but when I do it, it's cute. And I was like, oh, isn't that what they use on that in that shot on Amélie? And immediately, like, the camera guys were like, oh yeah, this is the, and like, so for like 10 minutes, like I got to pretend that I knew what I was talking about the techno crane, like an idiot. Such a dummy.
If let's just say theoretically someone was a can-do filmmaker working with their kids, could you make a techno crane using like a fishing rod or something?
No, you could make a crane, you could make an arm.
Yeah.
But it's a jib at that point, I'd say.
Right. And yes, he is correct. I mean, basically what you want is you want the level of like Raimi making Evil Dead, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of filmmaking you want. Like that
Strap your camera to a 2x4 is what he's saying.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. I know all about how Raimi did those shots.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's where you're at right now, right? Like
I'm not that far along.
But like,
I'm like, put your kid in a shopping cart and push it.
Well, that's perfect.
Right,
like, that's also that's perfect. Like you don't want to be at a moment where you're literally like, listen, I don't think I can get this shot without at least renting out a Canadian arm.
Let me
what I mean? Let me rent this piece of equipment for $2,000 and it's damn near impossible to get it here. Like, you don't want to be there.
Knows how to operate
and find somebody who knows how to operate. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, don't you think that when they bring the techno crane onto set and everything, they should be playing Sandstorm?
I've got a buddy who that's all he does. Like he is literally the techno crane operator in Atlanta. And when I first met him, you would have thought, oh, this guy's going to wash out in like 5 seconds because he's too goofy. He's just too much of a goof. But he fell ass backwards into this job. He makes so much more money than me. And he has literally traveled the world being a techno crane operator. And he's always working, always. He's never worried about where the next job is coming from.
No, I wouldn't imagine.
You don't have to own your own techno crane. You can just know how to use it. Does he?
No, nobody own none of them.
You don't have to own it, but you need to at least be involved with the shop who does own it.
Okay.
Right.
Because I know like the first Steadicam operators were just the people who own the rig.
Right. But that's a different story. That's because only camera ops are going to be the ones who own that. Like, and now you could get those in some production house, but
you can pick that up over to Publix. You know that.
Honestly, some of those direct-to-market gimbals are pretty good.
Yeah, they are
for sure.
About the color grade, right? Because I've always liked that about this movie. I love that, like it's almost like a mood ring for Amélie. I think that's just such an ingenious idea. And so, if you were to ask me 4 days ago, hey, what's one of your favorite things about Amélie? I'd say the color grading. I think it's amazing. And then I listened to the director's commentary where Jeannot, no less than 7 times, says, "Oh, we use too much color grading in this. I should have knocked this down. I should have knocked this down. This is too obvious." I'm like, damn it, Jeannot. Damn it.
I'm not trying to frighten you, Sean, but it's scary to me how much you're saying some things that I was thinking, because I watched this at night, went to bed, didn't have to work the next day. So I got up and immediately started researching online how I could do better color grading. Like, I watched this and I knew I need to turn some saturation up here and there. I need to actually do color grading, not just take what comes out of the camera, because this movie impressed me with that color grading. And I was thinking, well, Wes Anderson's definitely picked up his oversaturation tendencies from this.
Yes, without a doubt. I've only got a few more notes here, and then I'm done with my notes because I know we're about to wrap it up here in a minute or two. So Jeannot said he wanted to use the Lady Di news so audiences would know that this is a modern story, which I found very fascinating. Because what I think is interesting about this movie is that it's basically, I always took that scene as when she is watching TV and she shuts off the TV, it's more about like her own personal affairs than it is about the outside world. And that's what that scene was telling you. That's not what Jeannot was trying to say. Jeannot is literally like, no, I just wanted it to seem like it was a modern story. And I'm like, man, I did that thing again where I'm reading too far deep into this, like I did with George Lucas 35 years ago.
Considering how hard he worked to make this look like a Grace Kelly film, I guess he did need to let us know it was modern day.
That's how I kind of took it. It was definitely just kind of cementing in a specific time for everything. But it was nice for me because I did kind of automatically go like, okay, I know where I was in my life, when that was going on and everything.
Right.
So I thought that was at least an interesting kind of touch tone that I think that certainly if you were alive at that point, you'll remember what you were doing when happened, when OJ happened, stuff like that.
What month was this released in theaters in the U.S.?
Oh, I couldn't tell you, man.
Give me just
I saw
I'll find that out for you.
I saw it on DVD
because
so
I think by the time this comes on home release, it's going to feel kind of weird in 2001 that the biggest thing that tied people together historically was the death of Lady Di.
Release date in America was February 2002.
So it's post 9/11, and they're focusing on Lady Di as the international event to let you know what year it is. I like.
Listen, they don't want to listen. You weren't coming in for good time fun in 2001, just going like, hey, where's the 9/11 joke?
Oh man.
Like this will cement it in time. It's like that's going to be so much of a distraction. At least you can turn the TV off with Di.
I have one question before we wrap things up, if I could.
I got two more notes, so go ahead.
The guy in the bar who was obsessed with the waitress and wound up having an ill-fated relationship with a hypochondriac.
Right.
He looked to me like he was trying really hard to be a dwarf and failed.
That's the old my girl biggest midget joke.
He aged weird because when you see him in other things when he's younger, he doesn't look like he can take his lower lip and put it over the top of his head like he does in this movie. Because he's in City of Lost Children, he's in Delicatessen. Like he's definitely a weird looking little fella, but like he's not like he doesn't look like an experiment gone horribly
starring in the bitter beer commercial.
I don't know why, but when I was watching him on screen, I started looking up clips from the movie Tiptoes.
Oh,
Gary Oldman's role of a lifetime is what the trailer described it.
That needs to be a month of fake little people month.
Oh my.
So last two notes here. One is Ebert gave Amélie a thumbs up.
I remember seeing some of those reviews.
He called it, this is where he couldn't help himself. He had to say something. He called it a delicious pastry of a movie. Come on, Rod.
That's not Gene Shalit level. So at least you got to give him that.
It's pretty damn close, though.
It's close, but it's a step above Shalit. But that's all.
It's just Shalit adjacent for sure.
Shalit was the first movie critic I ever watched on a regular basis.
So in 2001, this is the last note I have. In 2001, Amélie gets nominated for an Oscar for Best Foreign Film. It got beat by a movie. Any guesses what beat it? You'll never guess in a million years. You've never heard of this movie.
I don't know.
That movie was called No Man's Land, which was a movie produced in Bosnia. No one has ever seen that movie. Even the people voting on the Oscars don't know anything about that movie.
Oh, Bosnia Herzegovina. Oh, I'm sorry.
And it's another one of those things where it's like, could the Oscars be more out of touch? Like that's literally what like you don't need any more proof. Like
hey, they're trying it now, though. They're trying now. They're like, listen, we nominated Sinners more than anything. We're hip. We're with it. We're the Oscars.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I love that they had to put in the new rule last year of you actually had to watch the movie in order to vote on it.
Crazy.
Why is that a rule that needed to be put in place, everyone?
Now. Why is it why is that a rule now? Why not 100 years ago?
It's insane to me, man. I mean,
Oscars
this movie is
so irrelevant.
This movie is probably like, look, I'll be charitable here. It's one of the 1,000 best movies ever made. This movie, giving myself some room here, where it's probably one of the 1,000 best movies ever made.
Yeah, I think you could probably make that argument. Yeah,
unequivocally. And the fact that that movie got beat by a movie that no one has ever seen or heard of is insane to me. It's just insane.
They ain't sending out enough screeners. That's the problem. You got to send out them screeners. They should have talked to the old Weinsteins there. If there was anybody that got screeners out and started milking people,
You ain't wrong. You know, he because when he was making the tour, when Janot was doing the tour of
good morning.
Con or something?
Film festivals. He's doing the film festival circuit. One of the people who ran the Cannes Film Festival was a critic that he hated. And so he refused to put this movie in Cannes. Can you believe it? If there was ever a French movie that should have been in this in Cannes, it would be this movie, but it never went.
Oh man. This would have been a Palme d'Or candidate for sure.
But you know what? You can't get a fair trial in France with a French film. Get out of here. Can't happen.
Maybe the financial success was held against it because there's some Oscars voters that they take the attitude we need to help something that's not making money instead of reinforcing what people already
but
know.
at the same time too, though, I think Sean has a lot. It's O2 and nobody's getting screeners and no one's watching shit and they're voting on things that they ain't seen and then they're just like, this one looks like it's like drama-y or something like that. As
Bosnia still had the sympathetic vote as a war-torn country,
of course,
things like that. Yeah,
of course.
If only a Serbian film had won best.
I knew you were gonna. I should have written it down. I could have showed it to the camera. Damn it! I knew you were gonna make that reference.
You missed your chance.
I totally knew it.
You missed your chance.
Well, we have not yet for at least 7 days to talk about the rating of this movie, everybody, because you know we like to let you know how we think and give our thoughts and recommendations for Amélie from 2001. Bruce, what do you got?
You know, I cannot enjoy a movie and still respect it. Pretty impressive filmmaking. I like the filmmaking more than the writing. So I'm going to give this one a solid 5 stars. 5 baguettes or whatever. But it's probably the least I've personally enjoyed a movie made this well. So I don't know, make of that what you will, but it's a good movie, and I'm not going to say it's not made exceptionally well.
Holy shit, I hope they re-release it so that can go up on the poster. That is the best grab of all time.
I'm over here warming up the back of my hand real good.
I'm going to translate that into French and just send it to, what's his name? Jean-Paul Gaultier or whoever.
Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
They're all named Jean. It's like
John over here. It was real nice and easy. Exactly. They're just like, that's the same one. Fine. Sean, what do you got?
I mean, it's impossible for me to think of this as anything else than 5 stars. This is one of those movies where I'm like, oh, if I were only good enough to be able to make a movie like this, but I'm not. Like I could never make this movie. This movie is so perfect. There's so many things that pay off later, and like you think there's going to be some dangling participle in the script, and nope. Everything wraps up, and it's just the best. And I just love the fairy tale-ness of this movie. I think the otherworldliness is a feature, not a bug. I think that Audrey Tautou will never be anything else besides Amélie for the rest of her life. And I think that she needs to learn to be okay with that, because she could be a fine actor, but you know, she's going to be Amélie forever, man. Like the character is too perfect. So for me, it's 5 stars.
You could do a lot worse. You could have your entire life be, oh, that's Franklin from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Right,
one
exactly.
of the worst characters in all of cinema history. The character's so bad you hate a guy in a wheelchair. You're just like, I want the guy in the wheelchair to die. He's terrible. It's like, so you could have that career. At least this is a good movie for her, you know.
Right.
And that's what this is. This movie is fantastic. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 stars for right now, just because it was kind of on my first watching here and everything. And when that 4K comes around, I'm definitely going to participate in that when that happens, because I think this is a movie that deserves that kind of treatment and everything. But also while it was a movie that I ended up renting because it was, $10 cheaper the day before, I'll wait till that time in order to rewatch that again. But I really, I was shocked at how much I really enjoyed it, how much it kind of, hit a couple of nerves and stuff with me. And it was that just kind of, it's that lovely kind of fairy tale French escapism in a lot of ways. It's like there's bad things that are going on, but like, the right thoughts and attitudes can help kind of, steer your life in a particular direction if you want it to go that way. And I think that's the great part about this movie and everything. And would highly recommend, if you have not yet seen Amélie, head to your local streaming choice and or buy it on iTunes or wherever the hell you end up getting it. But so that's a high recommendation for me. So at least a recommendation from all of us, even though Bruce was maybe not the biggest.
I gave it 5 stars. I said it's
Oh,
my
did you say
problem,
5?
not the movie's problem. It's like I know I'm the problem sometimes, and I acknowledge that. That's
What's
how
that
one
like?
grows.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
our
2 of
chart.
us have figured that out, Adam.
If that's how you want to, if that's the game you want to play, I suppose you're free to do so. But that is it, everybody. We got another episode of HMP in the bag here. But we got another month coming up, boys and girls. And let me tell you, when another month comes up, you got a change. There's a change in the wind, and we got one coming for you that's going to be quite good. Because you know what? February is the season of love. Love is in the air, not for some of us, but for some of you, love is in the air. And we're going to explore that with one of America's shining examples of what you can be in Hollywood, Mr. Tom Hanks, where we are doing a month of Tom Hanks rom-coms, everybody. And we are starting it out with Splash from 1984. Little Ron Howard there, that guy, maybe if he works real hard, one day he'll amount to something, that kid. But we'll see if one of his, I almost said directorial debut, but that is not even close to correct. That man worked his ass off way early throughout life and everything. But we'll be talking about that next week. In the meantime, Bruce, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
You can check out the YouTube channel. There's some stuff there, and I don't know. That's about it. Anime Dad is how you can find it on YouTube, or just Bruce Leslie on YouTube.
Very nice. Chante.
I'm going to be in France doing guided tours of what still exists from the movie Amélie. There's quite a few places, actually. So check that out. Also, I'm on YouTube also, Bruce.
Yay.
Oh,
I don't know why I pointed to you out, but
I support you in everything. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, I'm not going to say anything but yippee.
I'm a fan. What are you talking? Why would you? Okay.
Why would you say that? I'm your biggest fan.
I want to change my endorsement. I want to plug season 2, episode 8 of Atlanta called Terrari, where Zazie Beetz becomes Amélie for an hour.
Huh. You sent that. I hadn't really watched the movie yet, so I didn't end up watching the clip until I forgot about that. But yeah. Check out Half-Ass Movie Podcast on YouTube, everybody. It's where it is at. That's where we're streaming this show on Sunday evenings. That's where I stream TikTok Trash Tuesdays at 8 p.m. We go to Movie TikTok and talk a whole bunch of smack about people and enjoy the chat with you guys. And honestly, this month has actually been really spectacular for HMP on the YouTube front here and everything. So I just want to say thanks. Just a big giant thanks to all of you guys, because it helps. It really and truly helps, and it is because of you dirty babies all hitting that little like and subscribe button and the hype and all that kind of good jazz. It helps this thing go along, man. So thank you guys so much. That is it, everybody. Join us next week when we are talking rom-coms with Tom Hanks in order, starting with Splash from 1984. Until then, for Sweet Sean's,
it's right there, Portress. Call them rom-toms.
Ooh, perfect.
Join us next month for our new series, Rom-Toms with Tom Hanks. And starting in order with Splash from 1984 for Sweet Sean's and Kovacs from the internet. Bruce Leslie, I'm Adam Portress, reminding you to get out there and watch some movies, you dirty babies.